You've got 6 exercises, okay? Each exercise, I'm gonna talk you through it. You're gonna do it with me. It's a chance for you to kind of feel it in your body, make changes that you need to make. We'll go through each of the 6 exercises, and then we'll work through, again, those 6 exercises in intervals of 30 seconds. So we'll go twice through 30 seconds of all these 6 exercises, okay? Okay, so, and also the training objective today is decrease volume over 2 rounds to enable consistent movement over extended period of time so that you can increase your strength, your stamina, and your stability. Okay, so that's kind of the thinking behind this workout. Okay, lateral lunges. Okay, so find a home position. My 12 o'clock here is the camera. Take a nice big step, sink into the knee, to the hip, excuse me. Drive through the heel, come back to center. Okay, then switch sides. So you want the hip to drive back, drive up through the heel, back to standing. Okay, so it's side to side, making sure the hips pull back and you can see your toes over your knees. Okay, you can add a hand reach. Keep that hip, that stepping leg hip, pulled right underneath you. Don't let that pop out. And then as we get further in the workout, you can add a little hop between. That'll get your cardio up a little bit. Okay, but for the warm up, you might want to step it. Okay, those are your lateral lunges. Mountain climbers are next. So you can use a chair, right, to elevate yourself. You can also be on your forearms if you're on a chair. I'm going to show it from the ground. So plank position, whether you're on a chair or the ground, pull the shoulders down your back, belly pulled in, and then you're going to drive one knee up at a time. Each time you drive a knee up, try to keep the hips level to the ground. And then, of course, to make this more difficult, speeding up the legs a little bit as long as you can hold the integrity of the mountain climber. Okay, that's your mountain climber. All right, next one, scorpion bridge. I'm on a hard floor, so I've got just a yoga mat folded up a few times. And so you're gonna set yourself up like you're gonna do a bridge. Okay, on the ground, elbows bent, hands above elbows, feet flat on the ground. You're gonna lift your tailbone, scoop your hips up off the ground, all the way up, and as your hips come up, you're gonna reach across the body at a 45-degree angle, and then come back down. Now, feel out your range of motion slow here. So maybe you don't reach so far over or far down. Each time you reach across the body, your hips are lifting and you're pulling your heels towards your shoulders. So you're rolling back and forth, controlling the movement, spine coming up and down off of the mat. And then of course, once you have control, a little bit of speed and extra range of motion might be available. Okay, those are your scorpion bridges. Next one is your transverse squat. Brings us to our feet. Transverse is just a rotational plane. So 12 o'clock is straight ahead. I'm going to step open to about a 3 o'clock. So now I'm in this rotational open hip position. Drop my hips down and back into a squat position. My knees are naturally going to track over my feet, back up and to center. Then 9 o'clock with the other foot. Drop down, back up to center. Alternating and making sure both feet are weighted equally before you drop down into that squat. Pulling the tailbone down towards the mat and pulling your belly in as you come down into the squat. So back and forth, just make sure that you're getting that rotational quality. And knees, you know, they don't like to rotate a lot. So make sure those knees are tracking over the feet. Okay, so that's your transverse squat or trans squat. Side plank drivers. This can be done on a chair to lift yourself up if needed. Okay, so you're gonna come down onto, I have some padding, into a side plank position. Now option 1, which is one I'm gonna use for this side, is making a nice long line from my foot all the way up to the crown of my head. I'm pushing down away from the ground so that I have a nice long neck. And then I'm gonna bring my hand, reach across, and then pull it back to center. So I'm letting my hip drop. I'm reaching 45, back to center. That knee down gives you a little bit of less body weight. So that's option one. Now let's switch to the other side. So left or what opposite side. So if you were to not put down your knee, top leg is going to come behind so that it's toe to heel. And then the same thing here. Now you've got your full body weight. You're reaching and pulling back. Reaching and pulling back. One more. Good. Okay, so those are the side plank drivers. We're almost done. There's one more. This is called a torso roll. And this is really, this is a movement that just prepares your body for movement. So it's a good warm-up exercise. You're gonna lay on your belly, making sure you can see me, on your belly in like a Superman, Superwoman position, okay? Left hand comes out, knee anchors, open up the chest. And then reverse out of that. Find that Superman, Superwoman position. Arm opens up, knee anchors to the ground, open up the chest. Okay? And then back out of that. This one doesn't need to be done fast. It just needs to be done mindfully, getting that rotational quality of movement back and forth. Let's do one more. Actually, two more so that you end up on the opposite side. The right hand is the last one that comes out. Those are your torso rolls. Okay. 6 exercises, you've done them all. Okay, now we're gonna go through them 30 seconds each, okay? Starting with the lateral lunges. Hopefully you're already feeling warmed up. I kind of do it. Make sure you've got some water too. It's hot today. Okay, lateral lunges in 5 seconds. So remember, those are the step, lead with the hip, pull the belly in. All right, here we go. 30 seconds is starting now. Side to side. Remember, this is warm up. So take it at warm up speed, warm up pace, really finding alignment of that hip really pulled underneath you, not letting the hips push out to each side. Maybe you're adding a driver of that hand forward. Keep the belly pulled in tight. 6 seconds. Next, we're doing mountain climbers. So we're coming down to the ground or your chair. All right, switch right into it. Keep moving. Find your mountain climbers. Driving one knee at a time. Make sure that your weight stays over your hands or your elbows if you're up on the chair. Halfway. Keep that belly pulled in and the shoulders pulled down your back. 5 seconds. We are doing scorpion bridges next. Here we go, on the mat, on your back. Setting yourself up like a bridge, lifting up, rotating across, 45, coming down. Alternating sides, remember, just taking this slow and then finding range of motion or speed. We've got 5 more seconds. We're gonna come onto our feet in 3, 2, 1. Up on our feet, straight into trans squat. So opening to 3, squatting. Coming to 12, open to 9, squat. Come to 12, back and forth. When you get low in your squat, pull the belly in. That's where your hips and your body needs your core the most to get up out of that squat. We've got side plank drivers next. Half and half, so it's only 15 seconds. Set yourself up in your side plank. Drive that hand 45 and then back to center. We're gonna switch as gracefully as possible. Switch sides. Setting yourself up. It's okay if it takes a couple seconds. And then adding that driver in. We have torso rolls next, which start in that Superwoman position. And switch. So roll down onto the belly. Superwoman. Arm, knee, open. Reverse out of that. Switch sides. Arm, knee, open. reverse out. Keep alternating. Being mindful in this movement. We've got 5 seconds and then we're back to lateral lunges. All right, there we go. Peeling yourself up off the ground, right into lateral lunges. If you're feeling warm, maybe you add that hand drive out in front, maybe to the feet. Maybe you give a little skip in between. Good, I'm seeing you move back and forth, Allison. Good job. Make sure you're driving back with that hip. Mountain climbers are next. 3, 2, 1, switch, mountain climbers. 30 seconds, driving those knees in, maintaining a good plank position, steady hips, shoulders down the back. You're over halfway. We're coming into scorpion bridges after this. In 5. All right, down on the mat. Set yourself up in a bridge position. Hips up, drive across. Make sure you're getting the glute squeeze and you're actively pulling those heels back towards the body, especially as you roll the spine down. Over halfway. We're gonna come up onto our feet next for squats. 5 seconds. And switch, up on our feet. Getting up and down off the ground is part of the workout. Squat in that transverse plane. So think curtsy squat, curtsy position of the legs. Maybe a wide curtsy squat. Feel free to change with range and speed. You got 5 seconds here. And then we're side plank drivers. So we're gonna come into that side plank position now. Remember, it's only half, 15 seconds, so get right into it. You can be up on a chair here. You can have the bottom knee down on the ground for a kickstand. And we're switching nice and gracefully, one side to the other. Remember that top leg is back if you've got the knee off the ground. Torso rolls are next, and then we're done with our warm-up. All right, torso rolls. Remember, this is just about being mindful and moving your body. Arm, knee, open, reverse out. Keep going. "13 seconds. I have time for one more. And time's up. Okay, peeling yourself up off the ground again. We have 60 seconds rest, okay? So you get some water if you need it. And I'm gonna talk you through the next section, okay? I'm just gonna unmute you for a moment. Everybody doing good? Allison, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, Cheryl, have you joined us? Not yet.
Thought I saw her doing something.
Oh, did you? Okay, well maybe she'll have to warm up with our main set. Okay, I'm gonna mute you.
Okay.
Okay. So now we have sort of our main set of our workout. We're gonna use almost all of those exercises that we just did, plus a few, okay? So when we come up to new exercises, I'll make sure that you kind of get the preview to it before I ask you to do it. You've got 3 sets of exercises. Each set has 3 exercises in it, okay? The first one is trans squat, which we did in the warm-up, right? That opening and that squatting. And then we've got the scorpion bridge, so that's on the back, bridging as you reach across. There's a new one, and you can do it with me here to try it out. It's called a scorpion plank. So as the name suggests, you're starting in a plank position, right? Pulling the shoulders down the back, belly button in. You're gonna drive up with the hip as your right leg shoots up to the ceiling. So if you're a yoga person, think 3-legged dog, square hips, equally weighting both of your hands, and then back to plank. Find plank, then go to the other side. Lift the left leg high, hips square, both hands equally weighted, and then back. And then you can kind of begin to find the rhythm there. You're working on shoulder stability and mobility. Of course, anterior core is being trained. All right, so that's your scorpion plank, which will be added to this set of 3. Okay, 30 seconds each exercise, 4 times through. All right, I'm sure you're like, what? I don't know, I don't follow. It's hard without a board to look at and to show, but I got you covered. Hold on, let me unmute you. Sorry. Fumbling. What's up?
Oh, do I have to have shoes on? Because I forgot to put my shoes on. Is it better or is it okay without?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
good.
Totally fine. Yeah. Good question though. Okay. Mute. Sorry.
No problem.
Fumbling.
I shouldn't have asked.
That's okay. That's okay. You're all good. It's all good. Okay. So we have 4 rounds through, 3 different exercises: trans squat, scorpion bridge, and scorpion plank, the ones I just showed you. Okay. So starting in 10 seconds, we're starting with the trans squat. I'm going to add a little bit of weight to mine. You, of course, do not need to. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it at chest height, and I'm going to really make sure my belly's in. All right, we're starting with 30 seconds. When you add weight, you want to slow down your pace to kind of feel it out, and then really think about how your belly has to pull in a little bit more to support that extra weight. We're halfway through, and we're going to come onto the mat for scorpion bridges next. Opening up, finding that rotational quality, 4 more seconds. All right, I'm gonna also add a little bit of weight to my scorpion bridges on the ground, making transitions as quick as possible. And then again, because I'm weighting it, I'm gonna take it slow, and I'm gonna really kind of dial in my range of motion and see where I can take it safely. 5 more seconds here. And then we're gonna roll over and do our scorpion planks. Switching now. Find plank position. 3-legged dog. Find plank. Switch sides. Nice and fluid. See how far you can reach that leg up, but still keep the hips square. 10 seconds. And then we're back up on our feet for the transverse squats. 3, 2, 1, switch. Again, I'm going to add my weight. Trying to get into that transverse squat real quickly for good transition. Just keep moving. Good, I can see that rotational quality you're using there. Good. And then just try to be real fluid as you move through one side to the other. And the belly has a lot to do with that. 5 seconds. Scorpion bridges are next. Here we go. Switch it up. Grab your weight. Get down on the ground and go. So this is our second round through here. We're gonna go 2 more times. Halfway. Really pulling on those heels towards the body. Ignite those hamstrings so you don't roll away from your heels. Good, switch, coming into a plank position. Scorpion planks. 1 leg lift, see how far you can lift that leg and still keep the hips square. Dial in your plank every time. 10 seconds. And then we get back up on our feet, transverse squats. 3, 2, 1, switch. I'm gonna grab my weight, get right into it. So it's our 3rd time through these. We have 1 more time after this. Really making sure both feet are weighted as you drop down. Scorpion bridges are next in 3, 2, 1. Scorpion bridges. Wasting no time, getting right into it. And then make sure you're not losing the bridge as you reach across your body. Make sure you're squeezing those glutes, pulling the heels in towards the body as you come down, controlling any weight you might have in your hands. Almost there, switch. Plank, scorpions. Start getting real good at the transitions, right? You know what's coming. Good. So this is completion of round 3. We've got one more round after this. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Switch. Up on your feet. Transverse squats. Last round. You get 30 seconds. Next group of exercises, they're all new, so we'll take a little bit of time to go over those. 10 seconds. Keep those shoulders plugged down the back, especially if you've got weight in your hands. 3, 2, 1, switch. Scorpion bridges. Halfway. Keep going, we're almost there. Switching to scorpion planks right now. Last 30 seconds. Being super mindful about your body movement here. Tapping into those shoulders, that belly, and then the movement and transition between. Lifting that heel higher. Making sure that you find plank in between. 6 seconds. And done. Good. Take a minute, grab a drink. So we have another round just like that, but different exercises. All 3 of these exercises are new, so I'm going to kind of demonstrate them. It's great if you want to get in and try them just to kind of iron out any kinks, okay? So recover. The first one's really not anything crazy. It's just a step lunge. So it's a forward step and then back with an alternating pattern. And the thing you want to kind of think about here is just, it's a vertical lower, 90 degree in the front leg, 90 degree in the back leg, driving through that front leg to get back to center. So finding that control and purpose, belly pulls in again just at the lowest point of that lunge to help get you out of it. So that's the first exercise, okay? The next one, I'm gonna use a little padding underneath my hands. You're in a seated position. Externally rotate the right hand and put it right behind you. And then the left hand is gonna be right between the knees. Okay, so these are called extensions of the hip. You're gonna lift up. Again, that 45 reach as you come into that bridge motion, okay? So you're gonna do that. You'll do all your repetitions, actually 15 seconds on one side, and then you'll switch on the other side. So that's the extensions. The last one is toe taps, which you probably know as dead bugs. And they'll be on your back, palms up. Exhale, flatten the low back as you drop one heel to the ground, making sure your knee is always over your hip. So those are the 3 exercises. We're gonna go through them 4 times, 30 seconds each exercise. You good to go, Allison? Good to go? Okay. Cheryl, I'm not sure if you're there or not. Okay. All right. Let me get my timer. Okay, so the first one is just those step lunges, forward and back, alternating your feet. There's Cheryl, yay! Good job. So we're starting with step lunges, Cheryl. Here we go. 30 seconds has started. So stepping forward, forward, vertical drop, back and forth. And for these guys, once you like, if you're like feeling it, you can make it a little bit more of a switch. Make sure that you feel very comfortable with just that stepping motion. Before you do that, I'm going to give you a different angle. 8 seconds here. And then next is those hip extensions. We'll be sitting on the ground and lifting into a bridge motion. Okay, coming down onto the mat. Left hand, right hand is planted, lifting the hips, reaching 45 degrees, coming back down. Keep that length of the spine, of the cervical spine. Don't let that shoulder rise up to the ear. Last one here, switch sides. We only do half and half for those guys. Get full extension. Last one is toe taps. All right, here we go. Laying all the way down. We call these dead bugs, usually in the gym. Dropping one heel at a time. Making sure that you use that corseting of the core every time you drop a heel, making it harder by going a little bit further from the body with the heel tap. Faster is usually not better here. More control and a little slower. All right, coming up off the ground, step lunges. So that was round one. We have 3 more rounds just like that. Okay, there's no rest in between. We just go from one exercise to the next, back and forth, step lunge. I'm gonna add a little switch kick here. These really burn out my legs. All right. 5 seconds. Hip extensions are next. All right, down on the mat. Starting with the right hand planted. Move into those hip extensions and that 45-degree reach. Only 5 more seconds on this side. Switch sides. Next is dead bugs or toe taps. All right, here we go. Laying down, palms up. One heel at a time. Exhale, make sure you're bracing through the core. And then make sure your knees don't tuck in towards the chin or the chest. I'm losing my breath. Halfway. After this, step lunges, and it'll begin our 3rd round. 3 seconds. So using this time to prepare yourself, get up off the ground. Step lunges. There she is. Forward and back. Keeping that belly in and making sure your step's not too far that you're kind of struggling to get out of it to come to center. 5 seconds. Whew. Hip extensions. Good. If you find that these hip extensions aren't working, you can always do scorpion bridge instead. So scorpion bridge was down with your back on the ground. Switch sides if you're doing the extensions. If you're doing scorpion bridges, you just alternate, keep going. Toe taps are next. All right, laying down, finding that transition quick, one heel at a time. This is the end of our 3rd round. One more time through each exercise. Ten seconds. 5 seconds, we're getting up off the ground, step lunges. Here we go. Last round. Up off the ground, step lunges or switch jumps. There you go. Good. We're going to get a little bit of a break after this. And making sure you're really pulling in the core, stretching the tailbone down. 10 seconds. Hip extensions are next, or scorpion bridge. All right, here we go. Down on the ground. You're doing hip extensions, 15 seconds each side, 7 more seconds here. Really keep that space between the shoulder and the ear, and switching sides. Whoops, drop the ball on that one. It's all right. Toe taps are next, and that'll be our last round. Toe taps, really corseting the belly, bracing as you drop a heel. Halfway. Five more seconds. And release. Take a breather. Get a drink. Towel off. Allison, did you need to do the scorpion bridges instead of the hip extensions?
I did both, but afterwards I got a little tired, so I just
You did
lied.
both, okay. Okay, good. Okay, I was just checking in on you. Curious. Okay, you guys, you good, Cheryl?
Yeah.
we got
I had to do the
round
scorpion
here.
bridges because
Good.
of my ribs.
Your work.
Someone liked all of Caesar's posts.
Did you hear me?
Oh yeah, so yes, do scorpion bridges instead, but we're not going to do those again for now. Okay, so
Okay.
I'll remember that for next time. Okay, I'm going to mute you. Okay, next round, another 3 exercises, 4 times through, 30 seconds each time with those quick transitions. The only new one is a step bridge. So as the name suggests, you're in a bridge position and you're going to come up into your bridge, and then you're going to step your feet. You're going to bring one foot up off the ground and then the other. So Allison, you mentioned low back stuff. So if this really kind of triggers any low back issue, just come light in the foot instead of stepping it all the way up. So just feel what it feels like to have to use most of your body weight through that one leg. Okay, so those are stepping bridges. We do have the side plank drivers on this one. These are these ones. So if that's hard on the shoulder, you can always go to mountain climbers instead. Okay, so just a few different things to think about if you need to modify or just change the exercise. Okay, hopefully you've had time to get a drink and recover a bit. Starting in 10 seconds, lateral lunges are first. Okay, just remember those lateral lunges are here. All right, here we go. 30 seconds is starting now. And again, a little hop in between. If you've got it in you, just make sure that you are really holding the sort of form and integrity of the exercise. Over halfway now. Next is those bridge steppers. So we'll be coming onto our back. 5 seconds. All right, coming onto our ground, onto the ground. Coming up into bridge, and then stepping or coming light into 1 foot at a time. Being mindful of your hips and really think about your pubic bone being pulled up to your belly button. That'll help any compression in the low back. 10 more seconds. After this is side plank drivers, only 15 seconds on either side. Coming up into a side plank position, either bottom knee down or both legs straight, top leg staggered back. Driving that hand forward, pulling it back to center. If this is too hard on the shoulder for whatever reason, you can do mountain climbers. Switching sides. This side got a little shorted. We'll be back up on our feet for lateral lunges next. All right, Coming back up onto our feet, getting right into those lateral lunges. The key here is just to keep that constant movement. Remember, the training objective of this workout is to be able to sort of have constant movement over a sustained, extended amount of time. So just keep moving. All right, down on your back. Step bridges. Come on up. 1 foot at a time. Trying to get those hips square as you lift or come light in a foot. Halfway. Side plank drivers are next. Three, two, one, switch. Coming into that side plank, top leg is back or bottom knee is dropped to the ground. Reaching at a 45, pulling back to center. You'll let that top hip roll forward just a bit and then peel it back up. Switch sides. Darn it, this side gets shorted for a second round. I'll be better. Okay, keep going. We're back up on our feet for lateral lunges after this. All right, here we go. Starting round 3 here. Constant movement over an extended period of time. That's what we're doing. There you go. Good, Allison. Nice, Cheryl. 10 seconds. Three, two, one. Switch. Bridges, step bridges. Palms are facing up. That just helps externally rotate the shoulders. Halfway. Side plank drivers are next. And then we have one more round through. And switch. Side plank drivers. I'm going to put my knee down on this side. You can also give you a chance to kind of see what it looks like with the knee down. Just creating a nice long line from the crown of the head all the way to that foot. Switch sides. Oh, I was better on that one. There's no knee down. That top leg is staggered behind the bottom leg. Back up on your feet. Last round, side lunges. You get a little break after this. 60 seconds. I'm so generous. Back and forth. You're over halfway. That trailing leg, make sure that the foot stays flat on the ground. You don't come up onto the edge of it. Almost there, almost there. All right, step bridges. Right into it. Side plank drivers are next, and then you get a break. Ten seconds. Three, two, one. Side plank driver, 15 seconds. Only 5 more seconds on this side. Switch. I was dead on that one. 4th time is the charm. This is it. You get a 60-second break after this. All right, flop to the ground. Take a minute. Maybe come off the ground a little slower than you have been, just to let that transition be what it is. Oh, I chucked a lot of mud in here. Grab a drink. Towel off. Okay. So we have a whole nother round. Actually, I want to check in with you guys, just make sure you're doing okay. So Allison and Cheryl, were you both able to find exercises that worked
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Cheryl, you good? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically we're going to go through that again, same exercises, but this time instead of 4 times through it, it'll be just twice. So it's decreased volume, but then that same objective of just continuing that constant movement. Okay. I'm gonna grab a drink. About 10 seconds. And we will be starting with the trans squat. I'm gonna weight this for myself. All right, here we go. 30 seconds starting now. So I've added weight. I'm gonna make sure my form is really dialed in. I'm not gonna add too much speed until I feel like I can really control all parts of this. Make sure those shoulders don't creep up your back. 10 seconds. Checking in with those knees, making sure they're tracking over the feet. Next one is scorpion bridges. Laying down on the ground. Cheryl, this is what you can do instead of the hip extensions. It's a bridge with a 45-degree reach from side to side. Make sure you don't lose that bridging as you reach across from side to side. And then you're really pulling back with those heels towards the body as you come down. 3 seconds. And we have scorpion planks. Here we go. Plank position. Remember, it's a plank, 3-leg dog. Plank. Other side, 3-leg dog. Experiment with how high you can lift that heel, still keeping the hips square to the ground. And about 5 seconds, and then we're back up on our feet. Trans squat. Here we go. Up on the feet, grabbing the weight if you've got one. Opening it up, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Making sure you're getting that rotational quality to your step, changing planes of motion. 5 seconds. And then we're coming down to do scorpion bridges. Here we go. Scorpion bridges. Back and forth. Keep going on those scorpion bridges. Scorpion planks are next. Okay, here we go. Scorpion planks. Find that plank position. Moving smoothly and fluidly from plank to 3-leg dog. Time you come down into plank, really commit to those shoulders down the back. And this is it. This is the last round here. So we shortened the set so that we could get just a little bit more volume in, and done. So 2 rounds doesn't seem too bad, right? It just adds a little bit extra on. So you have 30 seconds here. And then we've got the next group of 3. That was the side lunges, back and forth, side to side. And then the hip extensions. So coming up into a bridging-like motion. Cheryl, that's the one you might want to do the scorpion bridges instead. And then toe taps, which are dead bugs. Okay? 30 seconds is just about up. So we are going to begin on our feet with step lunges. Forward and back. Ready, go. Forward, vertical drop, keeping those hips underneath you, belly pulled in. And then just finding the fluidity of movement between start position to start position. Thinking about driving through that front heel to come up. Less than 10 seconds. Hip extensions are next in 3, 2, 1 on the ground, 15 seconds on one side. In these hip extensions, really push into the fingers as well as the palm. That helps support the wrist, switch sides. Remember that that hand planted on the ground is externally rotated. Lifting the hips, finding that range of motion. Toe taps are next. All right, laying all the way down. Toe taps, 30 seconds. And then we go through that one more time. So maybe this is the point where you play with how far away from your body you can get, knowing that we're kind of coming to the home stretch of our main set. 5 seconds. Back on your feet. Step lunges or scissor jumps. This is last time through this set. Last 30 seconds of these, halfway. Hip extensions are next. Breathe. You got this. 3, 2, 1. Coming down onto the ground. Hip extensions. 15 seconds here. We're already 5 in. And switch. Toe taps are next, and then we're done with those sets of exercises. And switch. Putting down, palms up, knees over hips. Making sure that low back really sandwiches to the ground underneath you as you drop a heel. 10 seconds. And then you get a 30-second break. 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds. Do what you like with the 30 seconds. Flop on the ground. Grab a drink. It goes fast. So last 3 exercises. If you remember, the lateral lunges, the bridge steps, so you're in a bridge with a stepping motion, and then the side plank drivers, knowing that you can substitute mountain climbers for those if you need to. Believe it or not, 30 seconds is just about done. Okay, you're on your feet. And we're doing lateral lunges, starting now. Back and forth, back and forth. I'm gonna add a little shuffle in between, really leading back with the hips. And knowing that maybe the shuffle isn't right for you, right? Maybe you need to slow it down so that you can keep yourself accountable for how you're moving. So all of that, good choices. Almost there, 3 seconds. Bridge steps are next. Here we go, on the ground. Palms up, alternating steps. Lift those hips a little higher if you can. Pull in the belly muscle. That low belly will help any compression in the low back. 10 seconds. Side plank drivers are coming up. All right, side plank. If legs are straight, that top leg is back. As you reach forward, feel the separation of your rib cage and hip bone. Switch sides as gracefully but quickly as possible. We have one more round of this. We'll be up on our feet for lateral lunges next. Here we go, last round. Up on the feet, side to side. I'm gonna add a little reach. Making sure that trailing foot is staying flat on the ground. Don't let it come up onto the inner edge. 10 seconds. Bridge steps are next. 3, 2, 1. Bridge steps. Good. Keep those hips lifted. You're halfway. Side plank drivers are next. And then we're done. We just have a little mobility set after this. 3 seconds. All right, side plank drivers. Keeping those hips high, letting them roll, and pulling them back to center. Switch sides. Last couple seconds here. And done. All right. Nice job, you guys. And just in time for a little mobility work. Catch your breath, grab a drink, and then we'll start on our feet for the mobility. Okay. First mobility exercise. We're going to be going after the hamstrings. Okay, so take your right leg and step it back, but just really a small step. Bend through that right leg as your hips drive back and your right hand reaches towards your left foot. Left leg is straight, maybe just a kind of a softness of the knee if you need it. Okay, and then really pushing that left hip back. Come back up to standing, bring your feet back together. Left side steps back, small step. It bends as you reach the left hand forward. Right hip pushes back. And then come to standing. So now find a rhythm with that. Step back, reach across. Stand up, step back, reach across. So just finding that hamstring stretch, but keeping it dynamic. Keep going. Like 2 more each side. I know one side for me feels a lot tighter. It's pretty normal. And last one here. Okay, now grab your right knee, pull it in, and set it down. Switch sides. Left knee, pull it in, switch sides. So each time you pull your knee in, opposite side glute is kind of pushing forward into extension. Okay, so pulling that knee in, but using that glute to push the hip forward. So again, just finding some rhythm here. Let's do 2 more each side. 2 more mobility exercises after this. Okay, coming down onto the mat, I'm just gonna have something underneath my hands. My floor is very dirty now. All right, so hands behind the hips, okay? Just to support a nice tall spine and a broad chest, okay? Your feet are gonna be flat on the ground and, you know, wide, a little bit wider than hip, okay? And then you're gonna let your knees fall to the right and kind of think 90-90 position with your feet, or with your knees, excuse me. And then go through center, let the knees fall to the left. So my right hip, when my knees are going left, my right hip might come off a little bit off the ground. I want you to think about stretching it back down to the ground so that this motion comes from the hip joint and not through the low back. So anchoring, trying to anchor that opposing side hip as you move from side to side. If you do it right, you kind of end up inching away from your hands. So your hands have to kind of follow. Okay, last one. And again, if you're on a harder surface, you probably want something under your knee. Left knee down, right foot forward. Okay, so you're in a half kneeling position here. Tuck the back toe, untuck it, whatever feels right. And I want you to think about squaring the hips to the front of your mat or whatever. So that right hip pulls back, left hip pushes forward. Think about the tailbone pulling down towards the mat so that left glute kind of has to engage. And then inhale the arms up, keeping the squareness in the hips. And then grab your left wrist with your right hand and lean to the right. So this is going to be a whole side body stretch. Keep your chest kind of rotated more up than down. You'll likely feel this across the hip, maybe down into the IT band, maybe into the low back a little bit. Come back up to center. And then you can kind of drop your hands to switch sides. So set yourself up on the other side. Square the hips, tailbone down, belly pulled in. Inhale the arms up and shift your hips forward a bit. That right glute is pulled underneath you. You should feel a hip flexor stretch there. And then grab the right wrist with the left hand and lean to the left. Again, keeping that chest rotated more up than down. And as you lean left, your right hip is kind of pushing out to the right. And then coming back up to center. And we're done.